We might be doing something like a specific task, excuse me, for a long time. But I'll layer on a lot of information to it, or I don't know, you can call them like supportive fantasies, I guess. Just go with it. I move with you the entire class, so you can use me as a reference. If all of you want to pin my video as well, so you have me on the big screen, so you're not watching each other and you want to see what I'm doing, and Charlie's moving with me too, so you can use her as an example.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give a couple more minutes for anyone else to join. Monica, Jen, hello, hello, what up, what up? Happy Thursday.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Pretty splendid. I'm good.
I'm back for more.
Love it. I was thinking we're actually gonna start on our feet today. Chill with y'all. I've been starting on the floor the past few classes and I'm kind of over it. Charlie. You're fine. I just want to make sure I have a good camera angle. I'm gonna go barefoot today. Oh, but I need to massage my feet with socks on. I just don't like, because my feet sweat and I don't want to like massage sweaty feet.
Oh, well, I just worked out, so massaging sweaty feet is gonna happen. I thought that. So what did you do? What happened?
For everyone that's here, just, I imagine you've already prepped your space. Just like limit the amount of distractions. Turn the phones off if you can. Try not to check it. Sorry, Paul's texting me at the same time here.
Don't check your phone.
I think it's gonna be just us. Okay, Paul, how's this on YouTube Live? Yay. All right, we're always gonna start with massaging our feet. So start massaging your right or your left foot with your hands. Let me know if you can't hear me. I don't play music during the class, Brent. So if you want to play music on your own, go for it. But don't let it be, we don't want the music to be distracting. Hello, who's this homegirl? Hey, Stephanie. Welcome, happy Thursday. I already explained class, but kind of just go with what we're doing. We're moving for about an hour long. I move with you. We'll be doing multiple tasks today. It might be awkward, it might be weird, but just go with it. If you have any questions, just unmute yourself and ask me directly, but we will be moving continuously for 40 minutes and then we'll take a break-ish in between before we go into specific or long stretches. Start massaging the area where the heel meets the ankle. You can start massaging up the calf, eventually massaging the area where the calf meets the back of the knee. In today's class, really try to be patient with yourself. I encourage you to move slowly. Today's more, I mean, every class is, but I think today is more about listening to your body more than telling it what to do. We're going to be moving small, so move gentle, but be open to the effects that moving small has on your body. Start massaging the front of the shin, kind of the area between the tibia and the fibula. Okay, let that go. Start massaging your left foot. Just to reiterate for Stephanie, since we're massaging our foot right now, I move with you the entire class, so you can use me as a reference. You can even pin my video if you'd like, so you don't have other people on the screen. Start separating the toes from the metatarsals. Just pull your toes out a little bit. Start massaging that space in between the toes and the metatarsals, or the balls of your feet. How are you feeling, babe? Yeah. If you feel like you need to step out during class ever because you're feeling woozy or dizzy. Start massaging the area where the heel meets the ankle.
Ooh.
Start massaging up the calf. Eventually massaging the area where the calf meets the back of the knee. As you're massaging, I didn't mention this before, but feel like when you're massaging, you can move the flesh that's underneath the skin. You're not just trying to poke and create pressure in one spot. You're trying to give a more holistic massage to your leg. Start massaging the outside of your shin, the area between your tibia and fibula. Often in class, for those who haven't taken it, you'll be following what I'm doing, but you don't have, I think you're not gonna have to look at the screen too often. If you feel like you need to look at the screen to see what I'm doing, or if you feel like I'm not being clear enough, just be really sensitive and don't disrupt the process or the research by kinking your neck. If you're ever looking over the computer, just be subtle and gentle about it. Okay, give your forearms just and your hands just a little bit of a massage if they feel tired. Since you're all sitting down, just take this next minute or two to do whatever you'd like. Take kind of embodying a yawning sensation, kind of like when you wake up from your bed, you want to twist your pelvis, your legs, your body, and also listen to everything you need before the class begins.
Those are some short shorts.
Yes, there's some short shorts. You got to see my legs.
Are you wearing knee pads?
I am, yeah. They're knee pads, but they're more like knee sleeves, like dancer sleeves. It's more of a fashion choice than anything. But
Got it.
sometimes it's like why we wear like ankle wraps sometimes. They don't actually give you like a ton of support. They just help you be more sensitive in that area, you know. Yeah, it's true. Okay.
He's taking off his clothes.
But I'm gonna be barefoot today. That's a first. So telling you new stuff today. Okay.
Yay.
We're all gonna come to standing.
Come
There you go. Let's stand in a parallel. I don't think that's a good angle with my camera. Now stand in a really wide second. Ugh. Now move your stance to be somewhere in between parallel and in between a big second. Somewhere in the middle. Start bending and lengthening your legs. Don't connect to a squat. Just start sensing how your legs are feeling right now. Because we're in this wider position, be sensitive to how your knees are tracking over your toes. Start bringing awareness to the midline of your thigh. Change the rhythm of how you're bending and folding, or how you're folding and lengthening your legs. Start sensing how you're putting the weight on your feet. Encourage the weight to be distributed evenly on your feet. Start bringing to your awareness to how far your tailbone is from the floor, how the distance between the tailbone and the floor is constantly changing. And just to change the environment that we're in, you can imagine being in a pool of water, letting the water refresh your skin. Sensing how your interpretation or how you sense your weight is different than when you're just out in the open. Let this environment encourage you to connect to a floating sensation. And let's make the folding, the lengthening of the legs continuous. So we're not connecting to that squat sensation where we just fold and we lengthen and we have a stop and we have a beginning and an ending. Feel that the folding and the lengthening of the legs is one continuous motion. To this task, let's start drawing a circle with our tailbone. And let this circle you want to over this circle, sorry, I'll change the angle of my camera, or my angle, but you want to start over curving to the front of the mat and under curving to the back of the mat. Being really sensitive again to how your knees track over your toes. Sense when you bring your hips backwards, when you're under curving to the back of the mat, the weight can still be evenly distributed in your feet. So not all the weight goes back to the heels and your toes lift off the floor. Now let's make this drawing of a circle more passive, as if we're orbiting around something. We don't want to be so much in control of drawing the circle. We want to feel that something's happening to us, that someone has our tailbone and they're moving it in a circle for us, helping us connect more to horizontal forces. Be very patient with yourself as you're doing this. Feel the more patient you are, the more you can listen to the traveling information in your body, to the state of your skin, to how the bones move within the flesh. Start to bring a little more sensitivity to your upper body. You can pretend that the pool of water that you're in is at shoulder level. So your arms are just hanging out on the top of the water. It's very easy to do. But I also understand if you worked out today and your arms are sore.
I was like, nope.
Change the direction of the circle, opposite direction. I'm sweating already from this. So you're under curving to the front of the mat and you're over curving to the back of the mat. What? You can really treat your arms as if they're like threads. Really light. Available for rotation. But every now and again, you can let your arms be by your sides. Just don't let them be dead in this task. Let's go back to being more creative with the drawing of the circle that we're creating, and we're tracing the circle with our tailbone. Really trying to take advantage of the small muscles that's below our navel. You can actually place your hands in the area that's below your navel and then the sacrum. I encourage you to move from the place that's between these two hands. Let's change the facing and the plane of the circle. So now we're going to be over curving to the right of our mat and under curving to the left of our mat. Draw your awareness to your ankles. Notice how the shifting of the weight changes when you start circling from side to side. As you're circling, try to spread your feet a little bit more, encouraging the toes to spread, for the skin to breathe. And let the spreading of the feet, let the spreading of the ankles your knees permission to circle, giving your thighs permission to swim a little bit. Feeling like you have to let go a little bit in order to do the circle. Change directions of the circle now. So we're over curving to the left side of our mat and under curving to the right side. You can let your hands come off your pelvis now, but I actually want you to connect your hands in the middle, kind of right below the sternum. As you're doing this, really try to sense literally energy passing through between the hands. Really trying to sense the circle that you're creating with your arms. And I want you to invite the circle that you're doing with your pelvis. I want you to allow that to echo up to your arms. Letting your spine participate more in this task. And now I want you to start to create some resistance between your hands. Wanting your left and your right hand to push together a little bit. with minimal effort, maybe like 25% max effort. Really sensing what that does to your chest. If you feel like your chest is contracting too much, feel like it can melt. Change direction of the circle now. So we're over curving to the front of our mat and under curving to the back of our mat. If you feel like your legs are burning, if you feel like there's any grinding in your hips, back off the effort by like 20%. Feel like you can apply oil to your hips so the bones can slide softer. Good, let's stop the orbiting. Just float on top of our legs, but keep your hands together. I want you, for your own research, to feel that sometimes your left arm wins over your right arm. And that sometimes your right arm wins over your left arm when it comes to pushing. It's very weird and awkward, but really try to listen to your chest as you're doing this. And even though one arm is winning over the other, let's say the left arm is winning over the right arm, I'm still trying to create resistance with my right hand. So I don't feel my right arm suddenly becomes dead. Now feel you're pushing your hands. Feel like you're doing it. You're pushing from your elbows. Now feel that you're pushing from your shoulder blades, that you're inviting your back to be a part of this process. It's a little awkward, but feel as you're doing this, you try to melt the chest more and more. Experiment how the distance between your hands and your chest. Good. And no effort. Let the hands be connected and no effort, no resistance between them. Bring your arms out into a wide position now, into a T. Really feel how the space between, that's right above your armpit, space between your shoulder and your chest. Feel like you can stretch that area a little bit. You can push your chest out, bring your arms backwards if you can. I know I am. I know I'm sweating. How much? I don't know. And now instead of pushing just forwards and backwards with your chest, try to draw a circle with your sternum. Kind of as if you're just tracing a circle above water. You can allow your arms to fold as well. They don't have to be strictly straight. It's okay to connect a little bit to effort. Try to connect to pleasure more. Try to soften the tension in the back of your neck. Move the palms of your hands. Let them open and close. Try to connect to a yawning sensation. Bring your arms up overhead. Really enjoy the burn in the arms. Feel you have to let go just a little bit more. Good. Tuck the chin into the chest and roll down the spine, folding over your legs. letting your arms dangle, letting the palms of your hands softly meet the floor. Take a few inhales and exhales for yourself, really trying to invite air into the body. Tuck the tailbone in, roll up your spine. Oh, I do want to try something a little new today. Often in this class, I know we go into this part where we shake, but I want to try to define the shake a little bit more so we don't feel like we're just shaking just because. Want to feel like we can add some sensitivity to it. So in this wide position that you're already in, feel like you can put your arms into a position, any shape really. And I want you just to shift your weight from left to right in really small increments. So you feel like you're barely moving, yeah? Really try to maintain a steady breath as you're doing this. Don't let this small movement or small shake put you into a state of anxiety. Feel like you can increase the frequency of this movement. You can increase the speed a little bit. So you're still moving the same amount as you were before, but you're just increasing the speed a little bit. Really trying to sense the weight between your left and your right foot. Trying to sense how you're transferring the information. Keep this shake, but change the position or the facing of your torso. Yeah, really try to move and shake at the same time. That's something that's very hard to do. But really trying to enjoy the transition. Shift your torso from left to right. Try to increase the speed just a titch more. Increase the speed enough where then you feel like you're in this state of shaking. Let your arms come out into a wide T. We won't be doing this for too much longer, but be really patient with yourself as you're moving at this rate, as you're moving at this frequency. You can kind of have this fantasy of that you're like a video game character and you're kind of glitching.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm calling it.
Yeah, that was the thing I discovered today. Really try to shift your gaze in the room, but you can still maintain this shake, but you can still have movement in between. Bring your arms up overhead. Now do this, but bend your legs a little bit. Really feel like as you're doing this, you're trying to like swish water in your container. So the shake doesn't become dry. You want to feel like you can add a little bit of water to the movement, really treating your body as if it's like a soapy bubble. So you don't feel like your edges are so stiff. You feel like you can sense curves a little bit. Keep doing this, but take a walk around yourself. It's very hard to do. You're kind of like one of those green figures Well, I'm wearing a Toy Story shirt, so that's perfect. Like you're kind of one of those green military figures. Just walking around yourself from left to right. Good for 10. Walk the other way. 9, 8. Still connecting to the soapy bubble. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your legs into a wide position, not super wide, just what we did at the beginning of class. Really try to listen to the sensation that your body is left with. Ooh. Fold and lengthen your legs. See how your hips feel. And let's bring our legs out into a little bit of a wider position. We're gonna do a triangle pose. So so I have my right leg in front of me and my left leg behind me. But make sure each leg has their own lane. They're not on a balance beam. Imagine having 2 separate balance beams that your legs are standing on. Bring your arms out into a T. Tip the pelvis so you feel like your left hip is going up towards the ceiling, encouraging your right hip to just soften and fold. Let the weight of your head go down towards the ground. Stay here. You can let your hand be on the floor. You can have it be on your ankle, your calf. It really doesn't matter. But I want you to start drawing circles with your left arm. We can go counterclockwise to begin with. As you're doing this, allow your torso to change its facing. Feel like when my arm goes down towards the floor, my torso faces the floor, and then when it goes up to the ceiling, my torso can face out to the left of the room, left side of the room. Good, reverse the direction of the circle. And try to encourage circling your left arm. Try to do it from your shoulder blade and your shoulder, not so much your hand. Good, pivot your right foot in to be parallel. And come back up to standing. We're gonna do this on the other side. Letting my right leg be behind me, my right leg forward, each foot having their own lane. Let the right hip go towards the ceiling, encouraging the left hip to soften and fold. And start redoing this research that we did on the other side. Kind of go through it on your own. As you're doing this, really try to encourage your torso to soften. Really trust in that your legs will support you. Good. Bring your legs parallel. Now bring your legs into a parallel position, hip distance apart. We're just gonna do some versions of my sun salutation. So tuck the tailbone into the chest, roll down the spine. Gently fold over your legs. Lift your torso halfway so you create a right angle with your body. And then exhale, refold over your legs. Tuck the tailbone in and roll up the spine. Reach your arms up overhead. Grab your left wrist with your right hand. Stretch over to the right, but only stretch over to the right because you're softly collapsing the right side of your ribs, allowing the left side of the ribs to expand. Let your head rest softly on your right bicep. Slinky your way back to center. When I say slinky, I'm in a stretch and then I bend my legs and that creates a ripple through the torso. Grab your right wrist with your left hand. Softly collapse the left side of your ribs, allowing the right side of the ribs to breathe. Slinky your way back to center. Place your hands behind your hips, somewhere in the upper butt area. Softly push your hips forward and allow that weight from your pelvis to travel up the front of your spine, eventually letting the sternum face the ceiling. Slinky, bend your legs, come back to center, tuck the tailbone into the chest. That was good, Charlie. Lift the torso halfway. Feel like you can lift your torso from the navel area. Exhale, fold over your legs. Tuck the tailbone in. Roll up to standing. Open twist to the right. Letting the left arm forward and right arm backwards. Draw your left hip backwards. Your right hip forwards to square your hips. Check in with the palms of your hands that they're not dead. From here, we've done this in class before, but we're gonna turn underneath the table. That's at least what this task is called. So I want you to start folding where your hips are. Want you to have your gaze go towards the back of the room. And then within this, maintaining this twist, you let your torso softly rest on your thighs or right in between. You kind of imagine that you're turning underneath the table. Begin to coil your spine while you're in this position, letting the spine twist and elongate. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Legs. Lift the torso halfway, connecting to the strength of the navel. Exhale, fold over. Tuck the tailbone in, roll up the spine. Open twist to the left now. Right arm forward, left arm backwards. Play with the positions of your hips. The right hip draws forward, or if you let it splay out a little bit. Now fold at your hips. Maintain the twist of your spine. And start to go underneath the table. Invite your arms to participate in this research. Anything that can help you twist more or float. So this position isn't so, excruciating. Play with how you distribute the weight on your feet. Notice the position of your knees. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fold over your legs. One more thing, tuck the tailbone in, roll up the spine. Bring your arms out into a T. treating your arms as if they're wet towels or even dough. I want you to imagine that someone is twisting your left arm and inwards. And then allowing the right arm to twist outwards. Really try to enjoy the struggle your body's in. Allow your right ear to melt down towards your right shoulder. Really trying to continue the stretch of your arms. Really try not to connect to tension. Just like what we did with our spine, you want to coil your arms. You want them to twist and elongate at the same time, giving your chest permission to open and to melt, to let go. Good, bend the legs and allow your torso to tip over to the right. Collapse the right side of your ribs, allowing the left side of your ribs to open. Really feel like as you're in this position, you can kind of hang here. You don't want to just be dead weight. You want to feel like you can suspend your spine a little bit, as if you're floating. Maintain this position, but undo the twisting of your arms. Really just feel how you're letting the weight or letting the water that's inside your left arm go through the chest and out the right arm down towards the floor. Three, two, one. Fold over the legs. Lift the torso halfway. Exhale, fold over the legs. Tuck the tailbone in. Roll up the spine. Bring your arms out into a T again. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Inwardly rotate your right shoulder. Outwardly rotate your left shoulder. And then on your own pace, your own research, your own rhythm, duplicate what we just did on the other side. Letting the legs fold. Letting the left side of the ribs collapse and soften. Before you undo your arms, try to coil your arms so they twist and elongate. Eight, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fold over your legs. Woo. Walk out into a down dog position. Really enjoy being here, being close to the floor. Pedal out your feet. One last thing before we go into our traditional stretching. I want to start playing with the feet a little bit more. I want you can watch me for this part, just so you can understand what we're doing. But I want to start orbiting, learning how we can still orbit or create circles within different positions other than standing or sitting. So I want you to start drawing a circle with your pelvis a little bit. I'll push the feet into the floor and allow that wave to travel in my pelvis, my spine. Once I'm in a plank position, I'll bend my legs so I can send the weight backwards. Hope everyone got that. Try to do it at a slow pace so you don't exhaust the body. Now change direction to the circle. So you fold the legs, you push with the feet out into a plank, and then you push your hands into the floor into a down dog position.
trying to ignite as many engines as you can to be really resourceful here. When you're ready, let's all meet in a plank position. Don't worry, I'll let you know when we can go down. Good. Melt down towards the ground. Ugh. Let go of any effort. Really rest. As you're breathing here, start to invite air to any areas of any areas in the body where you feel like you're pooling tension. If you feel like you have tension in your lower back, really try to send the breath there, encouraging that area to inflate and deflate. As you're doing this, encourage your skin to melt down towards the floor, similar to how crayons will melt in the sun. You don't have to move to connect to this image, but if you feel like moving, go for it. But really try to connect to that sensation. Let's all meet in a child's pose. Send your hips backwards towards your heels. Let your torso softly fold over the tops of your thighs or right in between. Walk your hands over to the top right corner. Trying to stretch the area between your left hip and your left armpit. To deepen the stretch, imagine that someone takes the creases of your hips and just pulls them back a little bit. Good. Walk your hands over to the top left corner of your mat. Trying to softly lengthen the area between your right armpit and your right hip. Walk your hands back to center. Now we'll start moving into some traditional stretches. How are your bodies feeling? Tired? I am. Okay. We'll start with maybe, should I move my camera? No, it's fine. It's Gucci. I always like to end class with a pigeon pose and a nice straddle position. So now we can enjoy being still for a little bit since we've moved so much. To get into your pigeon pose, you can be extra and you can start in a down dog. You can let the right leg go towards the ceiling high, and then move into a plank, or you just move into a plank, bring your right knee behind your right wrist, outwardly rotate the right leg, and then allow your tailbone to sink to the floor. Yes, Monica, way to be extra. And Jen, good for you.
I'm like opposite of ordinary.
Here, play with the position of your hips a little bit, drawing your left hip forward and your right hip back if you want them to be squared. Let's see what it feels like when they're not squared too. What options do you have? You can softly let your torso fold over your right leg. Letting your forehead meet the mat softly, or your hands or your elbows, whatever degree you're at, whatever level. You can stay here, or if you want to be extra, you can let that left heel go towards your left bum. So you can add a little bit of a quad stretch. You can let that left hand reach backward towards your left foot on the inside of the left foot. And then you can simply just pull that foot to your left heel. You can stay there if you want to be extra. Get into your splits before we do the other side. I don't know who's into it, who's not, but bring your legs back to a down dog. Swing that leg around. And let's do the other side. You know the drill. If you want to be extra, let that left leg go towards the ceiling.
Yeah.
Let the left knee go behind the left wrist. Outwardly rotate the left leg. And then let the pubic bone really sink down into the floor. Encouraging your hip flexors to be really soft, to be really passive. Something that I usually don't think about while I'm in pigeon, I mean, if you're folded over your left leg, go for it. But sometimes I like to massage the foot that's in front of me as I'm in a pigeon pose. If you feel like doing that, go for it. I'm massaging my left foot with my right hand. Don't give me that look.
Just said you don't want to touch your bare foot, and here you are.
It's dry now. It's not
Oh
sweaty.
my
If you want to be extra, let that right heel go towards your right bum, y'all. Reach around with that right hand to the inside of your right foot. And then you can pull your leg towards your bum. But as you're doing it, really try not to inject any more tension than what's already there in your leg. Let it be really passive.
That was impossible.
Let us sigh out if you need. It helps.
Oh, I can't.
Stay there. And go into your splits on the other side. I know. Feels so good though. I feel like I have to move my, my pelvis that much. It's easier to do the splits. Swing the leg around. Good. We still have 5. Oh, yeah. I'm just killing it on timing this class. Pull over. Let your legs come out into a nice second. This is when, if you have a cushion, pillow, folded towel, put it under your bum. I'm gonna change the camera angle a little bit here.
Gucci.
But I really do not want you to have dump your weight into your back. If you feel like that's what's happening, put something underneath your bum. If you want your back to be nice and elongated, hip flexors are soft. You feel like you can just wiggle a little bit, Just for fun's sake, You can try orbiting while you're here in second. I feel like this is something I did with myself for a long time, rather than just trying to stretch forward, you know, and like wait for me to get more flexible that way. I feel like doing this kind of circular action within a stretch helped a lot. Change directions if you haven't already. I can't wait till Coach Christina comes to this class because you know she'd be all about this.
I don't know why she hasn't yet. Ooh.
Great, bring your arms out into a T. And then I want you to softly let the, excuse me, you can cancel the orbiting, but then softly collapse the right side of your ribs and allow the left side of your ribs to open. Really try to connect, or you can treat your ribs a little bit like an accordion. So the more you fold the right side of your ribs, the more the left side opens. And if you feel uncomfortable here, you know, like bend that left leg. So one leg is straight, one leg is bent. But I do encourage you to keep the second.
Okay, stumps.
Feels great. Really don't let the weight dump it behind you. If anything, let it dump a little bit in front of you because you don't want to go, you don't want your torso to go wider than your turnout. Good, let's slinky ourselves back up to center. It's good that when you're in a position for a long time like this, that you do a little bit of orbiting, a little bit of circling, just to let the hip flexors loosen up again. Often we'll just let our legs come back together, we'll shake them out, but like we can do other things too, you know? Okay, bring your arms out into a T. Cancel the orbiting, collapse the left side of your ribs. Allow the right side of the ribs to open. Let the weight of your head deepen the stretch. Let your left ear fall towards the left knee or the left thigh. Feel that even though you're in this stretch, you want to stay a little bit available for movement. So if that means you have to back up like 20% of your max, back up 20%, and just encourage a little bit of circular, a little bit of curvy movement. I offer this suggestion because it's sometimes it's like kneading dough. Sometimes I feel like we treat stretching as if you're just trying to pull the two ends, but we both know if you just pull the two ends of some things, it can make everything in between really thin and susceptible to being broken or injured. So I like to think about the movement being like massaging all the parts that are in between the two ends, and that helps you actually stretch more. Thanks for listening. Slinky yourself back up to center. And then slowly walk your hands out forward in front of you. You can allow the crown of the head, the weight of the head to go down towards the floor. Even if it doesn't touch the floor, you want to feel like as if it's going down. You can allow gravity to pass through you. Feel like you're not trying to hold yourself so much. You can really let go. Even here, you can back up 20% if you want. And then just encourage really nice, pleasurable, small movement in the spine and in the pelvis. Be really gentle. Whew. Slinky yourself back up to center. Let the legs come back together nice and slowly. Let out a sigh if you need. And just let your legs roll inside and outside. This is a weird image. Sorry, you see my shorts. even sometimes I like to do it myself. Like I'll let like my right leg long, my left leg bend. I have the weight on my left arm, and I'll put my right hand on top of my right thigh, like the upper part of the right thigh, like right below the hip. And I'll press into the thigh, and I'll just shake the thigh bone myself with my hand. This is a nice way just to like jiggle some things up. Let the hip flexor soften and let go. You can try it on the other side. I wish I was there in person to help you and tell you if it's like, if you know, if I think you're doing it or not, but COVID. So stupid. Okay, massage your feet one last time. Doesn't have to be a long massage. You can start massaging up the calf already if you like.
I stuck through it.
You massage your other foot if needed. That's good. You killed it. Absolutely. Not really. Okay. I saw you. I thought you were doing fine. Do you feel all right?
Yeah.
Do you feel better at least than the beginning?
Ish, not bad.
You checked your Apple Watch too many times, I think.
Jade messaged me asking about the cat.
Okay.
Oopsie.
Ugh.
Oh,
Oh, what? No, I'm good, girl. Don't you worry about me. Okay, everyone. Do I unmute people or
no, they can unmute themselves.
can they unmute themselves? Okay. Ugh.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Jordan.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed yourself.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Bye.
Anything else? Stephanie Hilger. Okay, that's true. That was easy. Well, that's it.